and welcome to the Ask Dr. Renee Show here on blackdoctor.org. So, you guys, today is Thursday. You know I'm here every Thursday, 6 p.m. Those who have never watched us before, please make sure you do follow the page, blackdoctor.org. And if you're on the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you're on my channel, subscribe. And please share the broadcast because, you know, we always bring you great information. May, in case no one has told you, is Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, I know all month we've been talking about asthma and allergy because, you know, I wrote a few books about it. So I had to talk about that. But today we're going to talk about mental health and we're going to talk about wellness because that is a part of mental health and self-care and all that great stuff. But I'm so excited. My guest today is Tunde-isms. Tunde is one of my favorite Peloton instructors. And actually, I forgot to tell her, I think she was the first Peloton instructor I ever took in the Mastering of the Basics. So please, 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 everyone, make sure that you share the broadcast because we are going to be giving away something. And I want to make sure that you guys hear about why you would want to get the giveaway or why you purchased the book already, because her story is amazing. And it is really, truly a testament to strength, wisdom, faith, just all the great things that you need to keep your mental health in check, which after what's happened this week, we all need to work on that, I think. So everyone, please share the broadcast and post where you're tuning in from, because we love to see that. And I'm so excited. Here's our guest. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I am fabulous. And how are you?
Oh, sir. I'm fabulous as well. I'm doing well. Doing well.
Awesome sauce. So let's start out with, for those, like I said, we're not trying to give away all of the book, but I want you to tell people, when you were growing up, what did you want to be?
When I was growing up, the first thing I said I wanted to be was a teacher. I said I want to be a teacher, and my dad said, "No, you don't. You'll be overworked and underappreciated." And ultimately, the joke there is that in many ways, I ended up still being a teacher. I think what I didn't know how to articulate then is that I wanted to be a leader. And so I ended up, I was a educator in the cosmetic world for 15 years. And then I found the bike. And now I'm a leader and a coach through the bike. And the extension of that is now by virtue of this book, I'm able to lead.
Yes. And so I have to know, for the book, the chapters have very interesting titles. It's just one word. I love it. How did you come up with these titles?
The titles of the book, well, it's a couple words, but I think that it's almost like I think of when I was a kid and I watched telenovelas, or if you're a fan of the show Friends, like the title of each episode gives you like a snippet of what each chapter is going to be about. So
yeah, like I like the authenticity, empathy. I love that. I thought that was like so cool.
So that's more of like a subtitle.
So got it.
Surrender, power, empathy is kind of, so speak as an hour wine and say the title of the book is Speak, Find Your Voice, Trust Your Gut, Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And so surrender, power, empathy, authenticity, and knowledge is really, I looked at those words as elements and how those words as elements have shown up in my life. And so each chapter has almost like a subtitle. And you know that's the chapter where I speak to how I step into my power. The chapter where I learn empathy, self-love. Yeah.
So you have had quite a life for somebody as young as you are. I mean, you have lived. But I want my audience to understand, do you have some tips or tricks on how you lived through, your family, all of those different deaths, one after another, unfortunately? Do you have any tips or tricks now that you look back at it, like, this is why I was able to get up in the morning? Or
yeah, I think that we all process grief differently. We all process grief in the way that we're going to process it, in the way that we know how to process it. I lost my brother unexpectedly when he was 19 years old. And then following the unexpected death of my brother, I lost my father. And then 3 years after that, I lost my mother. And so I lost half of my immediate family members within 6 years of each other. And I then, as a result, hit rock bottom over and over and over again. And I could have stayed there in that lowest low. But after some time, I came to this space where I realized that I don't get to choose what happens to me, but I do get to choose how I react. And it was this thought that kept moving through me. Every single day is a new day. I'm going to choose to show up new in this day. Every single day is a new day. I'm going to choose to show up in this new day. And so for me, it was a matter of choosing to live because they cannot.
That I love that. And I think that your mom apparently did an amazing job raising you, because you just light up a room. I mean, and I mean, as you both, we're both brown skinned girls, it can be very difficult in a world like you lived in Texas and like I grew up in Michigan, where we were often the only or lonely in the classroom or in the school. So, what'd you say?
I said the only or lonely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
You nailed it.
Yeah. So but you're so, like I said, so effervescent. Were you that way as a child as well?
Yeah, in my own way, sure. At home and maybe at church, but also in many ways, I hid myself. I was heavier sets. I went to predominantly white school. There were some Black kids, but I was by far the darkest Black girl in my school. In so many ways, I minimized myself. I shrunk myself to fit into the space that I was. And so, yeah, I hid myself. I was, in many ways, I was a very extroverted person trapped in this introverted shell and an introverted body. And so at home, you saw my joy and light. Those people that knew me really well saw my joy and my light. But in many ways, I downplayed myself to fit into the space that I thought I needed to shrink into.
Gotcha. So for those, if you've ridden with her, then she's from Texas, but she lived in LA. And LA is where where did you first take your first cycling ride?
Grew up in Houston, Texas, moved to LA around 20 or 21. I took my first cycling class on a business trip while I was in New York City.
New York, that's okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So you literally grabbed grab it by the horns, and you like took over and was like, okay, I am going to get fit. But you didn't even say fit. You just wanted to just get smaller, right?
Yeah, I think that my story started in one place and it's moved into a completely different
space. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I started this journey because I wanted to lose weight, which I did. I lost 70 pounds. Ultimately, what's kept me in this forever journey is the want, my why, which is wanting to feel strong in my body. I enjoy moving. I love the confidence that it brings me. I feel so connected to my purpose when I'm moving. And so what's so unique, I think, about my story is that I ultimately started this because I wanted to lose something. But the story for me has been so much more about what I've gained from it.
Yeah, and I've ridden a ride where you talked about that, and I was like, wow. I mean, literally. And then to read the book and hear about the blue light moment, I was like, that is pretty awesome. But I understand and can relate. You have to see things sometimes before they actually happen. And you saw it, had no idea it would be this, but you saw it.
Right. Just for a little bit more context for those of you that are on the stream, I lived in LA and I was on this business trip, as we just mentioned. I was in this space where I hated my job. Literally woke up one day, looked at myself in the mirror and admitted to myself that I hated my job, a job that I worked so hard for, a position that I'd worked so hard to be in. I had the audacity one day to say, this no longer serves me. And so I'm in this wild space of uncertainty and doubt. And during this business trip, I decided to try indoor cycling studio I heard Kelly Ripa talking about it on TV all the time. I said, I'll go and see what this experience is like. By the time I buy my shoes, my water bottle, my towel, I'm $40 in, deep in my pocket, fully judging myself for spending $40 on a workout, actually debating asking the girl to give me my refund so I can walk out of that line. But instead, I decided to stay. 45 minutes later, I unclip from the bike. I'm walking back to my hotel room, feeling this state of euphoria move through me. Within a matter of 5 seconds, I felt this blue wave of energy move from my fingers to my toes. And within that 5 seconds, I laughed and I cried in the same breath. And it's like this vision came to me. I knew that I'd be cycling for the rest of my life. I knew that I'd be teaching it. And I knew that I'd be teaching it on the world's biggest platform, able to impact hundreds of thousands of millions of people. I, at the time, had no idea what Peloton even was. And still, I believed this vision to be true, this almost divine download of information. I received it and I believed it to be true. I would love to say that I then went back to LA and I, knew I was going to be successful and quit my job and all that. But no, imposter syndrome set in. I got back to LA and I said, I don't look like, sound like, move like, walk like, or talk like an instructor. Who would ever take me seriously? Who would hire me? And then it came to a point 8 months after that, allowing fear to steer. I said to myself, I'm no longer going to allow this fear to hold me hostage. I'm going to act and I'm going to move. And so I took all the necessary steps to become an instructor. I worked at a local mom and pop studio in LA. I randomly get this DM from this guy saying his name was Cody Rigsby, senior instructor at Peloton. Went out to New York, auditioned for the job, killed my audition. And then I don't get the job, and then some time passes. Obviously, we know the end of that story. I end up getting the job later on. But yeah, it was not an easy road to get here, but ultimately I got here. I'll say this. I think that here's the thing about your calling. It doesn't just come. Like, you have to kind of throw yourself in the car and simply start moving, simply start driving. There is no roadmap. You can start to ask people questions along the way, but ultimately the journey ahead of you is your own. And my journey has moved me into this space. I mentioned earlier, I was this overweight kid in Houston, Texas, first generation American. My parents emigrated here from Nigeria to live the American dream, to create a better life for their children than the life that they were afforded for themselves. I tried out for every single sport as a kid, never made the cut. And here I sit today, not only a Peloton instructor and one of the faces of Revlon, but also a Nike athlete. And so I say that to say my story is so wild. And I say this all the time. I think, many people hear this. If I can do this, anybody can do this being what they want to
Whatever
do.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the truth. If I can make this happen, then there's nothing off limits. The sky is even too close. To say the sky is the limit, that's selling yourself short. That's selling yourself short.
Yes, I always say I say that often about the sky is not the limit. You got it. I say if I get to the clouds, then I've done pretty good.
Yep.
So why not keep going? But
Yep.
I, unlike you, I didn't try out for anybody's sports. I was like, and I just listened to your podcast, Fitness Flipped, with the Paralympian
Scott Bassett.
Yes. And she had some quote about, they would let her, participate in the sports, but she wasn't really, welcomed. And that's the way I felt. And I didn't try out for the cheerleading squad because I felt like they would not have a uniform that would fit me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I completely relate to that. And now people look at me and they're like, there's no way. I was like, there is a way. Like that.
Wow.
And it blows me away. Today I did a 20-minute 90s ride, and I've been doing the same ride. So this is like 5 times I've done it. And I just keep getting higher and higher outputs. Wow. And so, I'm in a group of newbies, and they were like, people are always asking, and I'm sure you've heard this, well, when will I finally be okay and I won't, be exhausted? Or when will I finally get this resistance? Or I compete against nobody. When I'm on the bike, it's just me and you. And that's why I was like, oh my God, I'm like half nervous only because I feel like you watch me as I'm like, well, I'm done today. And so,
Well, let me set the record straight. We can't actually see
I
though. Like,
know.
if you really wanted to during a live class, can you see if you know somebody's leaderboard name? Can I see what that person's putting out? Sure, but baby,
You
between
have time.
sweating and knowing what song is next and what I got to cue next and trying to look cute on camera, ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody
Right.
got time to sit and see where somebody is. Like, nope, I'm not even looking at that part of the
I'm impressed with the shout outs. I'm
It's
impressed with the shout outs. Like, I was like, how do
hard.
they?
Thank you for that. It's hard. It is very hard.
I am so impressed. I am blown away. I've had 2 shout outs I'll have 500 rides next week, and I've had a 100 shout out and I think 300. Emma and Kendall, and I was like blown away when it happened. I was like, oh my God, it happened.
Yeah.
Like, especially the 100, because, I was a new person to the thing and was like, I don't know. But so it blows me away that I can do that. Also, if you heard me say in the beginning, I have asthma. I have severe asthma. Thankfully, in the last few years, I have not had to take daily medication, but I grew up from birth, with severe allergies and severe asthma and having to take breathing treatments and all this stuff. So for the fact that I can do what I can do blows me away every day. And I understand you have a quote about movement, and you even said you like moving, it brings you happiness. Me too, because I know when I couldn't, and I'm so elated that I can. And I'm 45, but I say I'm aging backwards. That's one of my hashtags, is aging backwards, because I swear as I lose, I keep 10 more years come off, and everyone's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah, movement is, I think, one of the ways that the body shows its appreciation. It's a celebration of life, for life. Like, to your point, how lucky are we that we have the opportunity to be able to do this?
Yeah, and Jess always says that this is not something you have to do. It's something you get to do.
Right.
And I really resonate with that, because I'm really happy that one, I have the equipment to do it, but the physical equipment, just my body. Before this, I was a walker. I'd walk 6 to 10 miles a day, and people are like, are you nuts? And I was like, no, I don't like going to gyms. And this is my way of moving my body. And it's showing up for me every day. Shows up, and I'm looking at everything, and I'm all my numbers. The doctor's like, I'm really helped. So I was like, clearly walking works.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So you have some amazing quotes that you give us in class that are just so fabulous. So I have a few here. So self-care is not a luxury. Self-care is not a privilege.
Self-care, I think that when we call it self-care, it becomes this privilege. People think about going get your nails done, getting your hair done, a massage. And then you think to yourself, wow, what a luxury to be able to do that. I think that when you remove the word self and you input soul and call it soul care, it becomes acts that you are doing for the good of your soul. For me, soul care is removing my shoes and allowing my feet to feel earth, grass, dirt, just walk around on the park, no shoes on. For me, soul care is, I have a candle going right now that's like making like a little bit of like a tree bark sound or a fire sound. That's soul care. Music. Opening the windows. I live here in New York, and I open the window, and I love to hear just the trees and the birds and little kids walking past. That's soul care. And then, sometimes getting these eyebrows done, get a little massage on my face. That's good for my soul too. Oftentimes saying no is good for my soul. Not no and, not no maybe later, not no but, just no, period. Because every time I say no, I make space for a necessary hell yes. And so again, self-care, I think, has a bad rap. So I call it soul care, acts that I'm doing for the good of my soul.
Yeah, and it's important. And I, like I said, and I know I missed your ride last night, but I've heard that you did talk about what happened this week in Texas, and prayers to those families. I couldn't imagine and don't want to ever imagine. But I think that, people need to make sure in times like this, we're still in a pandemic. You need to make sure you take care of your soul, because I'm telling you, you don't take care of this, we only got one. So if you don't take care of this one being, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
You got to take care of it. You have to.
I think especially in times like this where, especially when it's such senseless acts of violence, things that could have been avoided happen. There's a heaviness that we all take on. I mean, I cannot imagine what those families are going through. All the senseless acts of violence that have occurred over the last few weeks. I cannot imagine what those families are going through. And then to the so many who are watching what's happening, going on, and feeling the heaviness, the fear that's instilled in us, to those of you that are parents or aunties like myself or uncles, there's a heaviness. And I think that, in many ways, movement is medicine. It's not the cure.
No.
It's not the cure, but movement is medicine. To be able to sweat. And I think that when you sweat, not only is it stress relief, more so in this moment, I think it's also this moment where you allow yourself to really surrender. I call it like moving meditation, where you can allow now new thoughts to come in, actual thoughts to come in. So we as a people can say, what part of change can I play? I'm just one person. And as one person in this sea of other people who has the opportunity to impact another one person, their thoughts, what can I do to help to create, to be a part of the change?
Yeah. And you'd be amazed what you can do as one person. We know a lot of one persons that did a whole lot. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that one person just, and look at the change and look at the effect they had on the world for years to come. So this is one that always gets me. The pain you feel today shows itself as strength tomorrow.
That's right.
And, I thought of that with those families, because, I mean, horrible pain, but unfortunately, they're going to be much stronger people. Those kids that were in the classroom, they're going to be amazing people. Because that, if they have, get the therapy they need, they can become amazing people because they lived through that. And it, like I said, you shouldn't have to live through that, but if you do live through it, it can really, I think that quote really can be, it can be the truth.
Right.
The absolute truth. Now, you cut your hair and everybody was like, oh my goodness, Tunde had us crying, talking about, how do you feel? Like, I mean, like I said, I read the book, so I know that you talked about it, but do you feel like just so free now that you don't have to worry about it? You just probably do a little like this in the morning.
I mean, it does require maintenance. And, I went blonde when I first cut. So let me fix my real quick. I went blonde when I first cut it. And I was like, this is too much work. Like, I cut this off so I didn't have to work. And so I stopped the blonde thing and went back to my natural color. But yeah, it's aside from just the obvious maintenance and the time that you give yourself back on a daily basis, I am so free. It is so awesome to not feel like I'm in hiding anymore. Yeah, I think that hair has what the beauty of hair, and especially as Black women, our ability to change up our hair all the time and be all these different people. It's so fun. And so I start there by saying, like, look, I'll probably wear a weave one day again. I'm sure I'll probably get my hair braided again. I miss braids, actually. And how cool that I still find myself beautiful just like this. I didn't know. I've worn a weave since first grade.
Right.
I've worn it. about it in the book. The first grade, my ponytail fell off, and I was so embarrassed in front of all those white kids. And my teacher put it back over me. And I've worn it, honestly, I've worn it ever since. And so, yeah, I didn't know who I was without it. There were times where I would take it down to let my hair breathe, but then maybe I slept on a wig. And I remember my ex-boyfriend, he would see me, like he was probably the only boyfriend that would see me with, in between when I took the hair out and didn't have anything on. And the way that he looked at me and the way that he expressed my beauty, it to the point where he thought I was more beautiful without it. Um, I didn't believe him then. I didn't believe him. It wasn't until I cut my hair off that I now feel like I look at myself in the mirror and I see myself, not just the cheekbone, the bone structure, not that, but I can actually see who I am. And it feels so good to be able to see it and say it, what he saw in me, to be able to see it and say it. Yeah, it feels good. I was so proud of myself. Something that I wanted to do for so long and I didn't, at the hand of other people, not knowing what other people think or say about me. And then finally, baby, one afternoon, I took an hour and a half train ride deep into the heart of Brooklyn. And I said, today's the day. Today's the day. And I did it. And I've never regretted it. There have been days where I've missed having hair just for the versatility and the switch up, but I've never regretted it. Mm-mm.
Well, you looked fabulous before, you look fabulous now. And I think that you did it good in time for the book cover, because it's lovely that it's just you.
Thank you.
It's just you. And you have the most, like I said, the smile, and your teeth are just so beautiful and perfect. I'm serious. I sit there like, oh my gosh.
My white strips. So thank you for that. Mm-hmm.
Whatever works.
Thank you.
Whatever works. So another one I love is, your mind is your strongest muscle. And I know your mother is the one that told you that. And it's so crazy, because I tell everyone it's mind over matter. We're trying to, we're working with my dad, and I'm like, Dad, it's mind over matter. You can do this. You just have to get the mind right. And if your mind keeps telling you, oh, it's not going to work out, then that's what you're going to keep doing.
Right. Yeah. In when you're going to perform an exercise such as a squat, it's your glutes and your quads that are activated. But before you press up in a squat, your mind has to first tell you that you can even do it. Right. Your mind is your strongest muscle. My mom showed me that. My mom was an incredibly beautiful woman. I watched the world flock towards my mother for her beauty. They came to her for her beauty, but they stayed because of her mind. They stayed because of her words. It was a very valuable lesson that she showed me at a very young age. Your beauty may get them to turn or to pay attention, but in order to get them to stay, you better have something to say.
Yeah, definitely. And you said as a child that you wanted to write a book, right?
I said in the third grade that I wanted to write this book. Yes, I didn't even know the stories that I would tell, because I haven't had lived the experiences yet. But yeah, I knew it. I knew it in the third grade, and yeah, people keep asking me why this book and why now? Why now? Why now? Why now? I think the last 2 years have been filled with so much uncertainty and so much doubt for so many people. My life, my story is filled with so much uncertainty and so much doubt. And it's really truly a story of loss and grief and trauma, and then finding resilience, and then stepping into new joy and triumph. And so my hope is that you pick up this book and you see little bits of yourself within my story, that we all have the same hope. And you then close the book and feel so compelled to go out and write out the next chapter of your life. I think that we're all so much more alike than we are different. People are different, yes, but we are much more alike than we are different. And when we are vulnerable enough to share our stories, the real stories, then we see that. Then we see that we are a lot more alike than we give credits to for.
I mean, it blows me away that you're able to talk as much as you do during class, and what you've shared, the little, because I've taken so many, putting all the pieces together. But the book was like pulling it all together, and hearing some of the stories that, like driving while black. That story was, that has happened to me one time, but thankfully it did not turn out the way yours did, because I don't know that I'd have survived that. But yeah, that was amazing. And then just you included us in your love life even, because there's lessons that we can learn from her story. And I mean, and she was kind enough to be vulnerable enough to include that in the book. So I really appreciate that. And I think that whoever gets a chance to get a hold of these books that we're about to give away, I think that they will grab something from it too. And it's not just for women, fellas. Her story can help men too.
I wrote this story, or wrote this book with my niece in mind. I wrote this book with my nephew in mind. I really do feel like this book is for whatever you are going through while you are going through it. There have been so many women that have reached out to me and said, I gifted this book to my hairstylist or to my girlfriend, or I was reading this book at the coffee shop and I handed it to the barista. And so I really do think that this book is for everyone. And in many ways, I feel like this is the sisterhood of the traveling book. Like, you read this book and then you think about someone else in your life who is going through something similar within the stories that I tell, and then you gift this book to them. That was really the vision.
And everyone, please, the book is available everywhere where you can buy a book. Of course, our lovely friend Amazon has it, and so you can get it there, and then you could have it sent to somebody. But the giveaway, I need you guys to put the hashtag speak. Hashtag speak. That is the hashtag. And if you would like to enter the giveaway for the book, hashtag speak. I'll even throw it up here.
Now we're open. We're giving away books. I love it.
Yes. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Here we go. Not that you should know how to spell speak, but that is the name of the book. I keep holding it up. Hashtag speak. Put it up there, and we'll see who wins the book. But yeah, definitely. I have one other quote here. I will push you, but I will never let you fall.
Yeah, I say that a lot of times in my beginner eyes. I will always push you because I'm a challenging instructor. Let me not lie to anybody. I will always push you. That's literally what I'm paid for. That's the job. But I will never, ever, ever let you fall. So let go, surrender to it. Trust that I got you. And more importantly, trust that you got you. I think that there's this rush of energy that you feel when you unclip from a Tunde ride, meaning that it is so damn hard and there's a reward. I hope that there is a reward that you feel after accomplishing it, like this victory that you feel. I will always push you, but I will never, ever, ever let you fall.
So I do arms and light weights right after so I do the ride, then I do arms and light weights. And I love how you finish like this. I always do it. I just like, oh, okay, we're done. Thank you, Jesus. Because I'm dying by then. But
you and me both, sis. You and me both.
And I mean, so a lot of people, they're like, oh, the instructor doesn't sweat. Tunde sweats. He is working just as hard as us.
Some might be going up my pores. I sweat a lot. I sweat.
So are you going to write another book? Because I know now you are a New York Times bestseller.
Thank you. You know what? Sure. One day, I'm sure. I am so on this wave of just being inside the current moment. People are like, what's next week? What are you gonna? I want to just enjoy this. I want to enjoy this. You know what it is? It's like when people have kids and then you are in the hospital
Right.
breastfeeding this baby, and people are like, you don't have another kid. I'm like, wait. I just want to enjoy this because this is something that I said 30 years ago, 30 years ago. So I don't want to rush this moment.
Right.
I want to just enjoy this part. So we'll see what's next. We'll see.
And are you looking forward to the live classes again?
Yeah, I taught you mean
In person?
In person, yes, very much so. I mean, look, shout out to my teammates for doing what we do, baby. I sometimes wonder if people fully grasp what's going on. We are in a room just like you are, by ourselves, just like you are. And then the amount, have you ever taken the Alex Toussaint class, the energy that Black man has? Like, and it's curated on his own. Robin, that energy, it's curated on her own. So I say that to say, yeah, like I can't imagine. They might have to have people sign waivers for the amount of energy that's going to come from the instructor when they enter that room. So yeah, I'm very, very much excited for it. We've very much conditioned ourselves to be able to create our own energy. So to be able to feed off of other people's energy, again, I can't even imagine how explosive the room will feel.
Now, how many months before the world shut down were you working there?
I was live, so meaning I was public facing for about, I think, 8 months.
Okay.
So I launched publicly in September, and then the world shut down into March. So I'm bad at math. Y'all know that because you take my class and I can't count. So about eight or 9 months.
Wow. So yeah, it'll be very wonderful to be back in, and it'll be quite an experience, I'm sure. I don't know how you all sit there and talk to yourselves, because I do pay attention. I'm just like, they're like talking to themselves.
Because I mean, at this point, it's been 2.5 years now, and so we've become familiar with. You can still feel the energy through that light. You can feel, because there's classes that we do that are called Coach to Camera, where it's not live at all, and those classes, even though both classes there's nobody in, they feel different. They feel different for us. Yeah.
Gotcha. And the podcast, I know season 1 was a lovely success. It was fabulous. So we look forward to a second season, hopefully of Fitness Flipped. So
I have no details on a second season of Fitness Flipped, but season 1 was so much fun, and I look forward to where we go with it next.
So you guys, please make sure that you download the podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts. And Fitness Flipped is what it's called. The other really cool thing about the podcast is you can go into your Peloton app and you can go to collections and hit Fitness Flip, and you could take a walk or a jog or something. So
walk or a jog or something, or a listen.
Or just listen. Yeah. So so definitely do that. You guys, there's a lot of people here, but only 2 people have put #speak, but that's fine because those 2 people are going to get a book in a minute.
Oh, you're Oprah Winfrey. Y'all better put your speak. I'm looking at put your speaks in. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Phyllis. Hey, Dr. Melva. Hey,
Agnes. So yeah, you guys could get your book, but like I said, there's only 2 people, so they're gonna get a book. Okay, well, I'm not waiting for them any longer. Phyllis, hold on, I'm going to show you guys because I forgot to hit share screen.
Oh, okay. I see more coming in now.
Oh, now they want to come in.
Oh,
okay. Well, Stephanie got a book. We'll see. We'll do another one.
Congratulations, Stephanie. Oh, this is fun. I'm nervous.
Dr. Melva got a book. Yay! Bye. Okay, we got one more.
This is exciting. Great job.
You have not because you asked not. You all didn't put your stuff in. Sorry. Phyllis Lipford, congratulations. So those 3 people, you need to send me a DM on IG or on Facebook, Ask Dr. Renee, and I will ask you for the information I need for the publisher, and they will send your books. Somebody else agrees with me that there needs to be a 2nd season of Fitness Flipped. Phyllis, actually. She was just thinking about that today.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
But yeah, I know we're going to see more of you because you are an amazing light, and you are a teacher. You are quite the educator, and we need education. I think a TED Talk is in your future. And you can say you heard it here.
From your lips.
I think a TED Talk is in your future. But you guys, please, 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 I put the link in the post. Make sure you go buy the book. And like she said, if you already have one, you gift it to somebody and send it to them because it is a great, great read. We have high schoolers about to graduate from high school, people graduating from college. I think this is a great, great book for you to pick up for them. Some people are like, what do I get somebody for graduation?
Yeah.
Here's something great that is a great story that will motivate people to be resilient and to realize that they can do it. Because that's at the end of the day, I think that anything you try, as long as you put in an honest effort, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. So Dr. Melva said, Tunde, my kids love you.
Oh, thank you. Tell them I love them right back.
So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tunde, for your time. Thank you to your team, because this was planned way in advance, and I so appreciate that. They did an absolute fabulous job. You guys, I wanted to make sure you guys saw this picture they gave me of Tunde. Isn't that a fabulous shot, you guys? She's just beautiful. But thank you so much.
I love red.
Yeah. Well, red, I don't wear red lipstick, but it works really well for you.
Red would be so beautiful on your skin tone, just saying.
That's what I have one, but it's like the least worn lipstick in all of my collection.
Hey, special events, special occasions.
We'll try.
Start there. Okay. And then let it teeter into the everyday.
Okay. I'm going to try. But thank you guys so much. Everyone.
Thanks everybody for coming on.
Yes. And please continue to share because, of course, you guys can watch this in perpetuity. And I will see you next week. Bye.